Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Good afternoon, based on which part of the world you have logged in. Just to share with you that people from at least 12 different countries are participating in this webinar today. The topic is around ISO 22301 audits. And this webinar is brought to you along with BCI as part of BCI Education Month. Thanks for logging in, first of all. A little about myself. I am the COO and Head of Sustainability Practice at Continuity and Resilience. In short, we call ourselves CORE, and I've spent 30 plus years in the industry, 10 plus years in business continuity management, crisis management, etc. Some of my affiliations in front of you now, and I'll be happy to be connected with you all. Please feel free to send LinkedIn invitations. Few words about the company, CORE. We are an ISO 22301 certified management consulting company dealing in 4 major areas, main areas: business continuity management, crisis management, IT EDR, and green IT and sustainability. And in these areas, we consult, train, assess, and certify individuals as well as organizations. Well, let's start talking about ISO 22301 and specifically the audits within. It is said that if you want to catch a thief, then you need to think like a thief. Or to catch a hacker, you must think like a hacker. So why not think like an auditor to pass the audits in flying colors? What I'm going to say is not official, not from a book, but based on my personal experience. I have been a practitioner, a trainer and consultant myself. I have been an auditee, and I am an assessor, auditor and technical expert currently. So the discussions are based on my experiences rather from a book. May I request Geeta, my colleague, to launch first poll, please? And I have a question for you participants, the audience. Do you have a copy of ISO 22301? Question in front of you on your screens. Please select your option as appropriate. The poll will be closed in about 30 seconds. Do you have a copy of ISO 22301? And your results in front of you: 77% yes, 23% no. And I would like to suggest those who do not have a copy must get access to one. The moment we are talking of audits around ISO 22301, we first need to have that book with us. Moving on, the PDCA cycle as defined in ISO 22301. Let's have a quick look at this. That the requirements for business continuity must come from the interested parties. And quickly, this term interested party is very interesting. And as defined in the standard, anyone who could impact your business or could be impacted because of your business or perceives to be impacted by your business is your interested party. So this definition increases the scope hugely. Simply speaking, interested party is just replacement for what used to be the stakeholders. But perhaps we had about 8, 9, 10 stakeholders in our plans in the past. The moment we think of interested parties, 7 billion people in the world. Anyone could perceive impacted by my business and becomes my interested party. So if not 7 billion, if not 1 billion, it seems this list needs to grow. And this list needs to be little longer than those 8 stakeholders that we used to have. First step is plan. We need to establish the framework, the BCMS. Once it is established, we need to use it, operate it. That's the do portion. No need to spend any efforts, time, money, effort unnecessarily. We must check the effectiveness, whether it is working according to the plan or not. So this is called monitor and review. And then it's not stationary. Act portion says maintain and improve, and this is how this cycle of continual improvement needs to go on. At the end of the cycle, what we achieve is managed business continuity for our interested parties. There are 10 clauses in the standard. First 3 are kind of non-actionable. Clause 4, 5, 6, 7 fall within the plan portion of PDCA cycle. Clause 8 is do. While it seems there's just one clause in do, but the maximum work happens here. All the action is in do. Clause 9 is check and 10 is act. Third look at the PDCA cycle by the name of the clause. So plan contains 4, 5, 6, 7 by the name, context of the organization, leadership, planning and support. Clause 8, which was in do portion, is called operation. 9 within check is performance evaluation. And 10 part of act is improvement. Geeta, may I request you to launch second poll, please? And the question, audience, I have for you is, which clause of ISO 22301 most closely refers to audits? The topic for this evening is audits, so the question related to that. You have the question and the options in front of you on your screens now. Please pick your choice, and soon we will share the results with you. Closes in 30 seconds. This is interesting. But in democracy, majority wins. So you know the answer. Clause 9, the performance evaluation, will talk about audits. Thank you very much. You can close this. And we will continue with our discussions. This diagram is very important and has been seen in different forms. The implementation will be successful, and that's what is being to be checked during audits. It will be successful if people in the organization understand what's in it for me. Why should we implement BCM? Why should we spend any time, money, effort on BCM? So this is a house or hut of the organization, and the blocks are different components starting from business unit 1 to business unit N. Risk management, quality management, physical security, information security management, finance, HR, legal, marketing, crisis management, emergency management, disaster management, environment management, energy management, and sustainability. And then I fell short of the space on the screen. Otherwise, I would have been able to, I could have added few more blocks. The intention is to show all that exists in the organization. All need to work together, guided by business continuity management. When all forces are synchronized, all efforts are in the same direction, everyone works in sync, then it becomes easy to achieve what is at the top, the organizational objectives or the goals that we set for ourselves. So it's not the BC manager's responsibility only, it is everyone's responsibility. Everyone plays role in BCM. It may be small or big, but everyone plays. Let's go through some of the definitions from the book. An audit is systematic, independent, and documented process. All three words are important to be understood. Systematic, independent, and that's why my audit is to be conducted by someone else, so that there is no partiality, for example. The process of audit process also needs to be documented. What for? To obtain audit evidence and evaluate it objectively to determine the extent to which the audit criteria are fulfilled. Audit is all evidence-based. What do you audit me? When you come to audit me, you audit me to see whether I am doing what I said I would do. Where do I say that? That's in my plan. Audit evidence is or are records, statements of fact, or other information which are relevant to the audit criteria and verifiable. If we talk of business continuity management audit, most likely one of the first questions that I would ask you is, do you have a BC policy? Your answer could be no, which is bad. I make some observations immediately. Your answer could be yes, which is good. Thank you very much. But I need to go one step forward. Can I see this? I need to have the evidence which is verifiable. When you show this to me, I look at whether this is reviewed and approved. And once again, evidence is for that. So I'm repeating, perhaps I'll say this 4 or 5 times during our discussions. Audits are all evidence-based and evidences which can be verified. You show me the evidence for review and approval. The next question is it then published, communicated? You keep saying yes, I'm happy, happier. And I have one more question and I have one next question. And the next question would be, is it understood by the people? And this question cannot be answered yes or no. So this is to be established. And an auditor then goes around, for example, for a floor walk, randomly talking to some people, and based on those discussions makes a judgment whether the policy has been communicated, published, and understood or not. Audit criteria is a set of policies, procedures, or requirements used as a reference against which audit evidence is compared. So these are the guiding principles for the auditors. Auditor cannot ask you any question randomly. If you have said that you have implemented BCM, then the questions mostly will be around BCM. If you said you have implemented a BCMS which is aligned to ISO 22301, then they are more focused on ISO 22301 requirements. And if you have said that you are certified to ISO 22301, then there is kind of 100% check with respect to the requirements of the standard. Audit finding is the result of the evaluation of the collected audit evidence against audit criteria. Let's look at some roles. In this activity, there is an auditee, which is the organization being audited. There is an auditor, person who conducts an audit. There is an audit team, one or more auditors conducting an audit, supported, if required, by technical experts. A technical expert is a person who provides specific knowledge or expertise to the audit team. For example, assume I am going to audit an insurance company. I am an auditor. I may not be an expert on insurance. So it's a good practice that an insurance expert is involved in the audit, and he or she is then known as technical expert. So the technical expert is part of the audit team. There may be an observer, person who accompanies the audit team but does not conduct audit. Maybe a guide, person appointed by the auditee to assist the audit team. So this, we see a difference between a technical expert and a guide. Technical expert is part of the audit team. Guide is the person from the auditee organization. I'm repeating that what I'm going to be saying or whatever I have been saying so far is not from a book, any book, but based on my personal experiences, being a practitioner, a trainer, a consultant, auditor, assessor, technical expert on business continuity management systems, ISO 22301, and before that BS 25999. I would like to see in your framework or within your BCM manual a number of processes. This is not definitive list. Interested parties. How will you identify your interested parties? And once I understand that from you, my next question will be, have you identified your interested parties? Who are your interested parties? I would like to see that list. Once I see that list, I'll go to the next step, next stage or next level, asking them, what are you doing with these interested parties? What is your plan? What will you do with them? When? Why? How? A process to identify your regulatory requirements and similar questions. Once you have the process, then have you used it? What is the output? Has that output been published? Is that output being used? How is that output being used? Risk appetite. My experience has been that almost everyone knows risk appetite, but no one knows risk appetite. If I challenge the audit team, at best I am taken to the CFO, CEO, head of risk management, etc. And they are experienced people, knowledgeable people. They explain this to me very well. But that's good. That's not good enough. The good practice says there has to be a process to identify this, a documented process, structured approach. Even the value needs to be documented, published, and used. The backbone of BCM, a process for business impact analysis, for risk assessment, for developing strategies, for writing plans, for conducting tests, trainings, the audit process itself, process for management review. If you would recollect, clause 9 was performance evaluation. How will you evaluate your performance? Your performance means the performance of your BCMS. Communication or crisis communication process, and a process for continual improvement. That's the requirement of the standard. How will you ensure that your BCMS has been improving? I said for these, roughly the list was about 14-15 processes, and for each process there has to be a documented process. What does that mean? That it's not in my mind, it's written. The moment we say, do you have a process? Yes, no. The moment you say yes, I want to see this. Written, someone has reviewed it and someone has approved it, and it's published, known to people, available to people for use. You have process in existence, then use it, please. When you use a process, there has to be some output. I would like to see that output as well. It needs to be shared, published, not to be hidden. And once it's published, it needs to be used. I'll go a little deep. that this output, the product of the process, is to be reviewed and refined over a period. And finally, even the process needs to be reviewed and refined over a period. That's what my understanding of a documented process is. Whether it is a process for BIA, whether it is a process for regulatory requirements, or for risk appetite, or other 10-15 activities that we just discussed. If you all would recollect, there was a sub-clause within BS 25999 where about 15 documents were defined as required documents. It was very easy there. It's not so clear within ISO 22301. But wherever in the standard you see this text, the organization shall maintain documented information, that tells me that this is a mandatory document. We must have it. As an auditor, I would like to see all those. And there are about 15 such documents once again. So what I'm going to show is not a definitive list, but it's a good list, a very good list. There must be a policy. The first policy is to have a policy, program management plan, interested parties, the list, risk appetite, the documented value, regulatory requirements, the list, BIA or BIAs, RAs, recovery continuity strategies, plans which may be of different types, names, nature, single document or multiple documents, incident management plan, emergency management plan, disaster management plan, crisis management plan, continuity or recovery plans. The list continues. The test program plan, test schedule, test plans, test reports, maintenance schedule and the reports, management review schedule and reports, training needs analysis, the schedule of trainings and the competence records. How are you moving up, building up the competencies of your team? Audit program, audit plan, audit reports, corrections, corrective actions and preventive actions report, performance evaluation report coming out of clause 9, and continual improvement report. So roughly 15 processes and 15 mandatory documents also. I'm repeating, in ISO 22301, you do not see a list that is readily available, but wherever you see this text that the organization shall maintain a documented that is a mandatory document that I as an auditor would like to see when I come to audit you. Incidents may happen, so incident reports, all communication records which may be internal or external interested parties. Record of your interaction with customers with respect to BCM, with your vendors and suppliers. Record of interaction with authorities, which may be fire brigade, ambulance, hospital, police, government, or a regulator. Interaction with any other relevant interested parties. This embedding portion is important, interesting. How would you see, how would I see whether BCM has been embedded in your organization's culture or not? This is similar to policy. Is it understood? Yes, no, cannot be defined that way easily. Is it embedded? Is BCM embedded in your organization? Yes, no answer is difficult. So there is a way to find this out or to tell this. Training and awareness records, that's the starting point. Does your management walk the talk? Anything that the top management is doing, saying about BCM? Are other policies and processes aligned to BCM? For example, vendor management process or policy, change management. Any change happening in the organization, there's a possibility of impact on BCM arrangements as well. Performance evaluation employee suggestion scheme. I'm sure all organizations today have this employee suggestion scheme. There's a box. Any idea, any suggestion can be put there with name or anonymously. Inputs are evaluated and those which are found to be good, appropriate, are implemented. Some organizations even provide some benefits to those people who have provided those suggestions that have been accepted and implemented, where the benefits have been achieved. Sometimes it's just a certificate, pat on the back. Sometimes there may be a financial benefit also. I'll be very happy as an auditor to see in this employee suggestion scheme if there has been a suggestion from the masses. You as BCM experts, the BC managers, BC heads can give so many ideas around BCM. Very easy for you. But if it's from the masses, any channel employee has given an idea or suggestion for BCM improvement and that has been implemented, that is the day when I'll easily believe that the BCM has been embedded in this organization. While closing my discussion for the evening, what I'm showing here is my mind map. Very complex. And this is to see the performance evaluation portion only. Or perhaps your BCM dashboard. I would start from budget. Do you have budget, BCM budget? How much did you ask? How much was approved? And how much has been utilized? This is a reflection upon performance. Then all those documents that we saw, program plan, policy, do you have it? Is it reviewed, approved, published, understood? Reviewed 5 years ago, that's not good situation then once again. So reflection upon performance. Next few parameters, meetings, BIAs, RAs, plans, trainings, tests and audits. How many were scheduled? How many of those scheduled were held? How many of those which are held were held on time? How many of those were successful? How many observations came out of that? activity. How many of these are still open and for how long? The aging analysis. What is the root cause analysis? Which categories do these fall into? At the bottom, I'm showing external learning and sharing also. Not everyone likes that, not everyone does that, it's not mandatory. But if I have done everything else, what do? I still need to have that continual improvement. Then I may have some targets that I'll go and attend one BCM conference every year. So did I attend or not? Or I will go out and speak at 2 conferences. I'll deliver 10 webinars in the year. So based on my target, the check whether I've done and how much. The last one, which is difficult to say, is incidents. Whatever we do, incidents may happen, but we don't plan. So there is nothing called how many were scheduled with respect to the incidents. But how many did you face? How many of those were managed successfully? If there were any learnings, improvements, action points, whether those have been closed. If not, then for how long and for what reasons? This could become perhaps about 100+ points in your dashboard. But when you go to the board doesn't have time or do not understand all the 100 points. They need to see, Daman, tell me where do we stand on the traffic light system. So you need to put some weightage. All parameters will not have similar weightage. Based on that, then you need to create one single value which would show you the status of the organization in terms of a traffic system, traffic light system, as red, amber, or green. Requesting Geeta to launch the next poll. The question for you audience: was this talk helpful? Select your options on your screen, please. Closes in about 30 seconds. Thank you very much. We are happy if you are happy as our customers, as our audience. And the next question in mind. Would you like to know a little more? Closing in few seconds. Thank you very much. So those who have said yes, request to them that you need to write your questions to us. There are 2 ways. You can write through BCI. As I said in the beginning, this webinar was part of the BCI Education Month. So you can write to us through BCI, or at the end last slide, I will share my ID with you. You can write to me directly. This is my ID on your screens now. d.sood@continuityandresilience.com. We have time for some questions. If you want to ask questions now, please feel free to type on your screens and we will attempt to pick one by one and do the justice to the best of my capabilities. Any questions about all the discussions that we had around ISO 22301 audits? Please type on your screens. It seems no questions coming up. Then we would like to close once again with thanks to you. Without your active participation, this activity wouldn't be successful. And a repetition that you may like to write your questions later also, we will be happy to respond. One question comes up. Would you have any material for ISO 22301? Now, one material about ISO 22301 is the standard itself. And I do have it, but that's a prized item and copyright item. I can't share myself. You can buy it from ISO. Other than this, there's a lot of training material that I have got. But then that is our IP, and once again, we can't share that freely. We share with the participants of our workshops. That's available. Other than that, my suggestion, what is available easily and freely, please visit our website, www.continuityandresilience.com. You will be able to find some reports, some white papers, some presentations, and recordings of our previous webinars, which is the question and answer next. Is there a way to send this presentation? Yes, the recording of this full webinar will be available to you all soon. This will be shared with BCI also and will be available on BCI platform as well. I was about to close and then two questions came up. So I'll wait for a few more minutes. Okay, then let's close this here. Thank you very much once again for your participation, your time. Let's stay connected. Learning sharing doesn't end with 1 hour webinar. It's forever. I am learning with each delivery, whether it's training, consulting, or webinar. I look forward to staying in touch with you. Thank you very much. This is your host, Daman, logging off. Bye-bye.